Hey.
Hi.
It's a Couplepreneur show with
Yay.
Ashley and Gus.
Hi.
I'm Gus.
I'm Ashley. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We just had a funny story. You don't even know what to say.
What?
So Ashley and I were trying to adjust our chairs here. We're trying to get all around, and we're both on wheeler chairs, and I threatened to tie her chair down.
He says that I keep creeping over toward him, and then I'm edging him out of the
frame.
The picture.
Anyway,
the frame.
Anyway, when I
don't think I do that.
When I was younger, my brother and I were
you were really little. Like babies.
Like 5 and 1 or something, 5 and 2.
Okay.
We were being babysat by my grandparents on my father's side, and they were.
How'd that go?
It was always an adventure. They were old. They were older and from Italy, and old school ways of doing business. And my brother was in this crawler, this walker, and he kept walking in front of the TV. And at the time, he had these giant set TVs that were on the ground.
Right. I was going to say the TV itself was not that giant, but it was like a piece of furniture.
Yeah, it was like a piece of furniture.
Right. So the TV was like embedded with this
it's on the
cabinet,
but it's like 6 inches off the ground.
Right. So it's not up high, and so anybody's walking in front.
And my brother was in his walker and kept walking in front. And my grandmother mumbles something in Italian. And my grandfather goes running out of the room, and he comes back, and he looked like Houdini. He had this twine, and he grabs my brother, and he ties him up. And my brother was in his stroller, going back and forth. So he had like a 90-degree wave. He was tied to the chair.
But he didn't go in front of the TV.
He didn't go in front of the TV again. And my parents come walking in like an hour later. And I'm sitting on the plastic furniture with my hands folded. And my brother's tied to the chair.
Everything's fine.
The
kids didn't give us any trouble. We're good.
They had probably had a couple drinks. Or like. So be careful.
They probably never saw you sitting so quietly.
Oh, never.
And never since.
I didn't want to get my ass tied to the chair. I wasn't in a walker. It would have been worse. My leg would have been like. Anyway. The fun story for tonight. All right, tonight we're talking about
a lot of fun stories,
starting a business together as a couple.
We did not start our business together as a couple, but
we did work together, and it was a conscious effort to say we were going to work together.
It was. It was a very clear moment where we said, do we like each other enough to work together? Do we love each other enough to work together? Do we respect each other enough to work together? And I think the key is too, if you don't know, you don't know, right? Well, you kind of have to jump in and just try. Well, but you need to make sure that it's if this doesn't happen, then we should just stop.
Real quick, you mentioned that word, and this word is probably going to be mentioned every time we talk.
Respect.
It
is.
It's the number one thing. It's the number one thing in our business. We respect each other. We respect ourselves. We respect our goals and dreams and visions.
We respect our customers. We respect our sponsors and partners and everybody who has anything to do with our business because that's just how it works.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a non-negotiable. But yeah, Gus has done a little bit of research to find out that there, I wouldn't say it's a magic formula, but there are just some things you guys got to be straight on as a couple
and I
before you start the business.
I can say this: no matter what you think the business is going to be like, and how it's going to run, and how it's going to do, it's not going to be that way. However, you do need groundwork. You do need plans. You do need
kind
to
of like
be
having kids together.
Well, 100%.
No, you're absolutely right.
You have a kid or get married. It doesn't look like you think it looks like. It still works out. It's good. Works out.
It's just it's way more work than you think it's going to be. And that's fine, but that's why it's that much more important that you have that mutual respect and that love for each other and for the business. I mean, and it's kind of like, yeah. I mean,
I can say this. I've been on and off self-employed for 30 years. I'm working harder today than I've ever worked. I'm working more hours. I'm putting more in. Maybe because I'm more dedicated to what I want to achieve in life is why I'm doing that. But
I think that's. I mean, I think we've learned too. Like we have pretty clear goals about where we want to take this company, and through that, it's like, okay, well, we know if we double down, triple down now, and get the work done, it's more likely to happen.
So let's start with this. You can go back to this respect. Honest conversation. You have to have an honest conversation. Do you have a shared goal and vision? You make sure. I mean, I know this is going to sound fluffy, but
it ain't.
It ain't. I guarantee you.
Nothing fluffy.
I guarantee you. You start a business with your spouse and you're not aligned and you're not on the same team.
It'll go off the rails real fast.
Yeah, you won't even make it through year one.
Mm-hmm. And it may damage your relationship.
Yeah. You also have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, both of you. Here's a perfect example.
Absolutely.
If you're going to start a deli, a sandwich shop, you can't both cook.
Somebody's got to be up front.
Somebody's got to be up front. Somebody's got to make the sandwiches. Somebody's got to be
managing,
running the business. I mean, there's
you have to divvy the responsibilities, basically.
There's three main things in a business. You work. You produce your product
in the business.
You
work on the business.
You work on the business. You run the business, which just means at the end of the day, counting your money and putting everything together. And then number three, you have to grow your business, and that's the relations and the publics that you get out there. Whatever you have to do to get your business to the next level. Work with suppliers. Work with clients. Work with partners and collaborations. So all three of the businesses, you have to decide. All three of those, you have to decide who's going to do what.
Yes.
And as your business grows, like Ashley and I,
which you would need to do if you were starting a business with anyone. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be your partner, but you need clearly defined roles for yourself. And
those roles might change.
True, and that much more important if you are a couple to have those roles defined and say, this is what Gus handles, this is what I handle. And then, inevitably something shows up that we didn't even know we needed to handle. And, rock, paper, scissors works.
You also have to be, so this is really important. You have to know your financial considerations.
Yes.
We know a couple that were making $500,000 a year at regular, we'll call them 9-to-5 jobs.
Okay.
And then they broke into a business. They got into a business. They were thrust into this business. I don't remember the circumstances. They're a good couple. They worked together. They had the same common goals. But the business was only producing $150,000 of
profit
money to the owners.
Okay. Yeah.
They go from $500,000 down to $150,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't each. It was combined.
Oh, okay. But still,
that's a heavy heavy lifestyle change.
Yeah.
They were in tears. We ran into them for one of our mastermind groups, and today their company, because they got help and they were aligned, their company's a $20 million company today. And of course, it's 4 years from the net profit of $150,000 to $20 million. I don't know what their net profits are now, but it's more than $150,000. I guarantee that. But
yep,
they jumped into a business not realizing how low the money was coming in compared. It was
a much more capital intensive business than what they were doing before. I believe. So
and they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah,
100%.
no, I mean they'd never done it before, and it was something that I again I don't know the full story on how it came to be, but for sure it was obviously but the best part was they said, oh my God, this isn't what we signed up for. Let's get help, instead of, oh my God, this isn't what we signed up for.
And they did that because they were aligned in their goals. They were aligned in their goals and values.
Let's just quit. But yeah, and because they were aligned in their goals and because they got the help that they did, they are now in a much better place in terms of their business. And I'm sure they're still rocking it as a couple. So what did you want to talk about next?
Fine. All right. Let's talk about legal stuff. Not many people do this. You did it when you started your business. You consulted a lawyer.
I did.
An attorney.
He's also a friend of mine, so that was kind of easy. I'm like, what do I need to do?
I had to say, my very first business, I had an attorney set it up, and it happened to be my father's attorney with his company, and he set me up.
This was a friend's husband who was an attorney, and he even kind of said, well, you don't need me to do this. Like, you can do this yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how. And I don't want to do it wrong. Like, I'd rather pay a professional who knows what they're doing and make sure that it's set up correctly. Right. So
let's take a break from the nuts and bones of this.
Okay. Nuts and bones.
Should be nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a foreigner with a different language, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about the bones.
Here are famous businesses that were
kind of fun.
started by couples. I bet you didn't know this.
I didn't know this.
The Gap.
I did not know that the Gap, but I of course knew that it was founded in 1969 because it's all over their marketing.
Donald and Doris Fisher founded the Gap in 1969 when they couldn't find jeans. I am old enough to remember shopping at the Gap when the Gap only sold Levi jeans.
Me too.
Yeah. Now the Gap has grown to other clothing brands, Banana Republic, Old Navy, and Athleta. I am pretty sure that you know why they call it the Gap?
No.
Because it was filling in the age group, the younger group, 12 to 25-year-olds. That was a Gap that they couldn't have kids' clothes.
We were the Gap?
Yeah.
I wasn't the Gap yet, but I get it.
I was right there.
I was slightly younger.
So, well, not in 1969. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Younger.
Yeah, we were younger. But anyway, the Gap was originally, it was originally going to be called Pants and Discs.
That would have not worked out.
I don't think so. I think the Gap was a good move.
So next,
I fall into the Gap.
Next couple,
yes.
Tom and Judy Love. They founded Love travel stops. They're all over the country. If you've been out there, if you ever spent any time on the road, you see a Love travel stop.
Oh, I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
The orange and black, or the orange and red sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they founded that.
So what was the They've been married for over 60 years, and in that time, they have amassed a net worth of $9.1 billion.
So they borrowed $5,000 in 1964. If I'm not mistaken, in 1964, the average income was about $4,000.
Yeah, $5,000 is a lot of money. So
that would be like borrowing like $150,000 today.
Okay, well, they did well with that. Good for them.
Forever 21. Was started by Don and Jin Suk. Started in 1981.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they grew to.
I don't think I had heard of Forever 21 until it seems like kind of recently. Maybe they have limited locations. Anyway,
I don't know.
Well,
they started on the West Coast. They came across this way.
Got it.
Gordon and Carol Siegel started Crate and Barrel.
In
Chicago. How about that? That's pretty fun.
And that beautiful flagship store that is now the flagship Starbucks right on Michigan Avenue used to be a phenomenal Crate and Barrel. So
here's something
putting that out there
that I'm very familiar with, and I actually helped them. I actually helped them in the very beginning. We helped them a lot.
Tell me.
Oh, Kevin and Juliet. But I didn't realize they were a couple. I had spoken to Kevin many times. Kevin and Juliet Hartz.
I didn't know this.
They started Eventbrite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We were one of their first. My company was one of their first. We were one of their top customers, and we were selling.
So we were
selling like 50,000 tickets a year through Eventbrite.
Event tickets. They're usually 1-day event or in
concert stuff like that.
Just kind of off the beaten track. Something you wouldn't use Ticketmaster for, but Eventbrite's sort of perfect for like a networking event. Or that's really cool. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Mike and Miriam Illich started Little Caesars Pizza. They also owned. Unfortunately, Mike has passed away, but he also owned the Detroit Red Wings
Okay.
and some minor league baseball teams.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think they serve there. That's cool.
Little Caesars.
Yeah.
I don't think they're serving Domino's.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm a fan favorite here.
Most of these companies, they started and then sold them to much larger corporations.
Yes.
Joe Malone and Gary Wilcox started Joe Malone.
So,
I had no idea. Your favorite?
It is my favorite fragrance. It was my mother's favorite fragrance, and I have several bottles from Mom. And sometimes they're not fragrances I necessarily want to wear, but I have a beautiful, and it's like one of those is your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I've followed Joe Malone. I love Joe Malone. Joe Malone is just a wonderful.
They sold the company a long time ago. Estee Lauder.
You know, I don't think they realized. So when did they sell it? Oh, in 99.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, but I'm still a fan, and I'm still the one who's saying, please bring back my old fragrance.
So next one, Kate and Andy Spade. I didn't realize they started that together.
I think I knew that when she passed, they talked a lot about how she started the business. So,
and Andy Spade is
he's
David
related to David Spade.
David Spade's brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The
I
actor.
did know that.
Or the comedian.
See? And actor.
This one's not a household name, but you buy from them.
Who?
MSC. MSC is the second largest shipping company in the world.
Oh.
Those MSC ships, the rail cars, you see them. So basically, everything we use, the camera we're talking to you on, this computer, or this water bottle,
had to get from
probably was on. It might have been. And there are
else.
50-50 channels on MSC container.
I did know
Gianluigi and Raphael Aponte, and they're Italian.
Gianluigi.
What's a woman's name?
No.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Raffaella was.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You're the Italian here.
Anyway, so let's go back to what we were talking about.
What were we talking
about the legal.
It's kind of neat to know that there were so many couples who started these big companies. I mean,
and we know
cool.
quite a few today. We have good friends that are in business together. We probably have 10 couples that we know that are in business together that work together 24/7, talking about
just like we do.
Just like we do.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool. I mean, you definitely. There's a kinship for sure of people who understand, like there's stuff that you just leave at the door. There's stuff you just don't talk about. And then there's stuff that you just doesn't even come into play. Like,
yeah.
Right. I mean,
So if you're going to start a business, say you're both fed up with your company where you're working, whatever you're doing, and you want to
whatever your 9 to 5 is.
Whatever your 9 to 5 is, you're like,
So what do you recommend?
We do some brainstorming. I would say the number one thing. What problem does your product serve? Solve.
You meant to say solve.
I haven't even been drinking yet.
Well, first you need to find the problem, right? So if you're going to do the brainstorming, you need to think about like, what are some of the common things that drive people crazy or that stop them from doing something?
Hey, I know.
Or that keep them from, or that they just, obstacles that they have. Like, what are some things out there that a lot of people have an issue with?
Here's really simple.
Yeah.
A restaurant. People need to eat 3 times a day.
It's true.
That's why so many people start restaurants.
I went into hotel restaurant management.
Restaurants
I was like, it's economy proof. You gotta sleep. You gotta eat.
My first real my first business.
Yeah.
I had 4 businesses in the automotive industry.
Okay.
People have cars. People have cars. I had businesses in the automotive industry. So what problem does it solve?
Yeah.
What's your shared
vision for the company?
Synergies, passions.
Yeah. And if you're it's funny because in so many ways, Gus and I are so alike. I think in some ways we share the same brain. But when it comes to running the business, we have to wear different hats from each other.
I'm really big picture. I'm thinking 3 years down the line.
I'm usually very big picture, so we have to actually work. I have to work on the details from time to time.
And I also
it's a completely different brain.
I'm big picture, but I also, and it's my engineering background. How does this go wrong? And we plan events. We throw events live.
Yeah.
You're gathering.
What could go wrong?
I mean, our events, we're gathering 100 people in a room, and they're business oriented. I don't think I've ever seen, knock on wood, we're doing an event next week. I don't think I've ever seen, we've never had an incident, a fight, somebody drunk, somebody having to be physically removed, other than our last event. But it wasn't one of our people physically removing somebody. But anyway,
I think I remember somebody had to like leave the room because they weren't well, but that was in Vegas, and you can understand why that probably happened.
So
you're right.
My other business,
from
my
a
other
standpoint,
events business,
yeah, you kind
we
of
had
to have
sometimes
security
20,000 people.
Yeah,
Someone was going
someone's
to be
gonna
taken
bump
away.
into somebody and get pissed off.
Someone's going to be taken away in an ambulance, if not more than one. Someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get arrested.
Makes you want to hang out with them.
There's going to be a fight. There's just going to be shit that happens in a large event where people are drinking.
So the point being, you're going to have.
You got to be prepared. So the point being, I watched the details.
Okay.
I guess
but the point, but yes, you did, and I. Anyway, get a sense of what problem you want to solve together. Think about, and actually one of the things that we've learned in the past few years is put the idea out there, sell the idea first, then build the business.
Well, here's a great idea.
Instead of building the business first and then offering it up to people and saying, "Don't you want this?"
Here's a great idea that doesn't work.
Okay, go ahead.
I joke about it all the time.
All right.
We're moving to Florida.
Yes.
I'm going to start a snow removal business in Florida. There are no snow removal businesses in Florida.
Right.
It's not needed.
Obviously. So, no.
And you probably go to some place like...
You do the brainstorming.
You probably go to some place like Buffalo, and...
There are a lot of them.
There might not be. It might be so common. Everybody has their own snow removal equipment.
Do it yourself. Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure there's like something out there that has that for people who don't have the do-it-yourself.
Installing pools in Alaska, outdoor pools, is not probably a great business. Being in the pool business in Florida is probably a phenomenal business. There's probably a lot of competition. What edge do you have over that competition? I actually heard Damon John said you don't need to invite a new product or a new service. You just have to have a different edge and one step better than the other guy.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yes.
You can do this.
So
when I started when I started my business, I was working with another company, and I had a vision for how it could be done incrementally better and with a much better outcome without a massive investment. So when it was time, that's what I did. When I started
my first car business, that was I'll call it a real business. It wasn't a part-time business. It wasn't a side hustle. It wasn't a side gig. I had come into the business with a background in automotive detailing, auto sales, and more importantly, maintenance and scheduled maintenance. I created programs inside the business where I rewarded people on their birthdays or anniversaries. I gave out Christmas trees to my best customers. None of the competition in the neighborhood were doing that. And that was my special sauce, where I was managing and taking care of the customer. It's commonplace these days, I think, for a lot of auto dealers, but it wasn't commonplace.
No one ever brought me a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it wasn't commonplace back then.
Like, dude, where'd you get your tree?
I also did
blah, blah, blah.
Inadvertently, I had been doing events or had an event component all my life in one way or another. I also used to do events. One of the events we used to do was I used to get familiar with your car for women. We would do come to the shop, have wine and cheese.
Bring your manual.
Bring your automotive manual. You're buying. It's no different today.
It's a big car. It's a big investment.
Probably the second most expensive thing you're buying in your life.
Yeah, besides the house.
The house.
So
no one takes that manual out and read it.
Yeah, because it's not interesting reading, but until something goes wrong, and then you're like, oh shit, you pull out the manual and you're like leafing through trying to find. Anywho, so what else do you recommend?
Define roles and responsibilities.
Yes, be very clear about
let's
that.
go back to this just happened with Tesla. Define roles and responsibilities.
He starts to,
who orders? Let's go back to the deli situation.
Okay.
Who orders what, and what are you going to spend on it? Now, in a deli, you have perishables, you have non-perishables, you have fixtures.
fixed costs, variable costs. Where are you going with this?
Where I'm going with this is who's ordering the food,
Yeah.
who's responsible for the inventory,
Yeah.
and maybe one person's responsible for one part of the inventory, one person's responsible for that. In our business, I handle all the tech. I handle all of our
Marketing.
SAS type things. I handle all the marketing. Ashley handles all the hotels,
all the food,
all that stuff. Now,
stuff from there.
we consult with each other all the time on the expenditures on these things.
Yes.
But they're definitely defined roles.
Absolutely.
When we're running the event, Ashley's the hostess running. She's the showman, making it all happen. I'm the guy to make sure your ice is cold. I take care of all the details that you don't think about.
Similar to the deli or restaurant, I'm the front of the house. Gus is the back of the house when it comes to us running events.
But one person running an event,
yes. You have to have both of those things covered. And if you don't, I used to run events all by myself, and I always hired somebody to be, before Gus joined the business, I had somebody helping me manage those details so that I could do what I needed to do to take care of my customers.
And we have multiple people at our events now. I mean, we'll have 5 staff members at the event next week.
Yes.
And
with defined roles.
If the event was if we had 10 more attendees coming, I would
grab somebody else.
I would hire somebody for the day.
Yeah. So if you want to attend a conference, let's get 10 more people.
Maintain a work-life balance.
Yeah.
This changes through your years. I think you probably have the least. I think it's most important when you have kids.
Totally.
It's
they need
when you're
morally
pre-kids,
obligated to take care of those little suckers.
I mean, pre-kids, I used to sleep at the shop at the automotive. It was just work-life balance came on the weekends. Work-life balance came Saturday at 5:00 till Monday at 7 a.m.
And for me, before I had kids, I didn't have the business. I just got up and went to work, and then it was right before I had my daughter that I started working in a different model. So, but baseline. Mornings before she woke up, and then when I had my son, the same. I was yours in the morning, I was yours in the evening, but from this hour to this hour, I was focusing on the business.
It's interesting. We discussed this on our last episode. The work-life balance for Ashley and I, it's a blurred line between work and life.
But that's okay for us.
Oh, it's awesome for us.
Right. No, so I just wanted to say that because I think for a lot of people, we talk business all the time, but we love what we do and we love our business. So it's not like, okay, just stop talking to me about the business. It doesn't happen. We're always talking about it, and that's okay. But there are times too where it's just nice to kind of get lost in a movie or watch a TV show or, catch a documentary and, So we go for walks, we work out.
We also hang out, but our life balance, so to say, besides our kids, we hang out with other
couples,
other couplepreneurs.
Yeah,
with other people that own businesses.
We relate. What can I say?
Prioritize communication. This could be as simple as Ashley and I, with our team, we have regularly scheduled meetings with our sales team. We have a meeting every morning at 8:45 where we do sales training. We go over. That communication is taking place, and then we're back and forth. There is no excuse to not communicate. We all have this all day long, we can go back and forth with and feed off of each other.
Absolutely. Gus and I also, right after in the mornings, we kind of just check in on each other. What have you got on your calendar today? What needs to be done? What are our money moves? What do we need to focus on? And sometimes that gets obliterated within 30 seconds if a problem comes up, and then we're trying to both manage and solve a problem. So
it happened today.
Yes, that's exactly what happened today.
It's all good though. Everything I taken care of.
When it boils down to it is we were able to attack the problem and figure out a workaround or solution.
This one is really important.
Tell me.
Seek professional guidance.
Yes.
Most of my life, I have to be honest, I flew by the seat of my pants. During COVID, we brought in some outside help to get us through. Man, it accelerated our business.
Major difference.
I wish I would have invested in it earlier.
Yeah.
I can just say that.
No, I think that's totally fair to say. And it's one of those things where we did it when we thought this we have to. Like this is
which is the wrong time to do it.
Well, right. But it's one of the, when things are going fine, you don't think about, oh, well, I should invest in myself and work on this. It's like, well, no, everything's going fine. Okay. It's when everything went sideways that we were just like, oh, okay, we don't know everything about this. And or everything that we did know has changed and we need to look at this differently. So that was really the impetus for us to get the help that we needed. And now that we have, we're like total like junkies for the help. We're like, yeah, teach me more, which is all good. So
well, it's the whole, you know
what you know.
You know what you know. If you drew a circle, it's 360 degrees.
Yes.
You know 1% of that circle. That's the knowledge you have in your head. This is for everybody.
And you know what you don't know.
5% is you know what you don't know.
Like I know I'm not a brain surgeon. I know I don't know how to do brain surgery.
But you know that you know that you know that.
I know that I don't know how to do that.
I play guitar. I know I don't play very well. I don't play piano. I know I don't know how to play piano, but I know that there are ways that you can learn to play piano.
And where we're going with this is that there's a majority of that circle that is
94% of you don't know what you don't know. And that's a huge thing.
If you never expose yourself to what you don't know, you'll stay in that very small quadrant.
We learned, some of the stuff we've learned in the last few years is the importance of onboarding employees properly, the importance of mentoring, feeding, nurturing, allowing an employee to grow. And not only it's good to know that in theory, how to do that.
Exactly.
The process
I was going to say, we all know that we knew that it was important. What we didn't know was how to do it.
Yeah.
So understanding number of employees per, by revenue
per head
it has
by your industry and by your business.
Whole new concept for us before. Yeah. So understanding when it's time to take a leap to grow, when you need to take on more investment, when it's time to call somebody and ask for help.
Yeah. The whole financial, we've learned a lot about the financial moves you make in your business and when to make them, the break points and why you have trouble growing from one size business to the next,
right?
Or one thing to the next. So that's the stuff we've learned over the last few years, and it's been immensely helpful.
And it's also been helpful for us to help other people. Like we've been in a position where, when we're talking with other couples who are also in business and say, somebody says, oh, I'm frustrated, I'm dealing with this. And we're like, oh, we can identify that issue now. Before we'd be like, oh, wow, I have no idea what to tell you. And we've learned the playbook, which is nice. So what do we want to recap here?
So I put in the I'm going to do this each week.
What?
A book recommendation.
Ooh, what'd you put?
Elena Cardone's.
Yes, Build an Empire.
How to Build an Empire.
It is.
It's a great book from the woman's perspective in a traditional marriage. She and her husband have built over $1 billion in net worth. Elena was a big part of supporting her husband through all his endeavors and making the right power moves to get them where they are today.
And understanding what that support really looks like and being on the same page with your partner. And what I loved about that book so much is that she talks about the times when it wasn't obvious, where she was not 100% clear on what she needed to do. And for both of them as a couple, until something happened or things got bad. And then they said, okay, we need to sit down and figure this out right now. And this is how this rolls. And
reminds me,
there are things that Grant handles and there are things that Elena handles. And, that's it.
It reminds me of the,
so
we have to do a presentation. We have to do one of our talks we do on the Gus Incorporated.
Okay. So, on You Incorporated.
You Incorporated.
Yes.
You Incorporated.
But we'll do that some other time.
A concept. And I think Elena takes that role of You Incorporated and applies it to their empire, quite frankly.
Right.
To their business, their empire, and what they're doing and the impact they're trying to make on this world.
Absolutely. So cool.
So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming. Share your ideas and your journeys and your just throw it in the comments if you've got a question for us.
Hit us up on any platform. We're on a couple of platforms here. Hit us up, DM us, Let us know if you're having problems, if you have questions, you have an idea. I love helping people start a business or grow their business or take their business to the next level.
Or just brainstorm. If you've got some ideas you want to throw around, we're happy to do that. It's part of what we enjoy.
Be prepared, though. I might tell you your idea is not going to work.
He'll only do that if he really thinks your idea is not going to work.
Yeah, or I'll help you. I'll give you advice on how to get your idea to the next level, or maybe a different way of looking at your idea.
There you go.
Yeah. So cool. Anyway, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week. Next week.
Ooh.
We'll be at the beach.
Yes.
I'm going to come live to you from the beach.
That's cool. I didn't even realize that.
You know what? And the sun will still be up.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Where we're going.
We'll have a really nice sunset for you.
Yeah. All right.